Hi, Mark Robertson back with you here talking about my book, Carrying Lawn Chairs, Youth Sports, and Other Parental Mindsets. We've been going over each chapter in the book. The book is divided into two sections, as we've talked about. The first part dealt with parents and their children involved in organized youth sports, all the problems I have with it, and the fact that I don't really think there are solutions to those problems. I just wouldn't put very young kids into organized youth sports. Let them play on their own in the backyard, let them kick the ball around, let them have some free fun, authentic play. And it's not organized youth sports that brings about that authentic play. It's playing hide and seek in the backyard, kicking a soccer ball, playing catch, things like that. Organized youth sports is, at the very least, not necessary. It's a waste of time. At worst, it harms the kids. It gets in the way of their natural desire for natural, authentic play. And so I am not a fan of organized youth sports, especially for very young kids. Again, I wouldn't start kids in organized youth sports at the very earliest age, 10, maybe 12. And I'm not against sports. I like sports. I'm a big sports fan, but I think it's crazy. All this nonsense all across the country, getting these kids started in sports at age 3, 4, 5, 6. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's not a good idea, and it makes no sense. And especially you got stands full of screaming parents yelling at 5 and 6 year olds on a t-ball field. That's dysfunctional. I think it's crazy. And so I'm against organized youth sports at that age. But today's chapter, where the second part of the book talks about a number of other topics related to the parent-child dynamic. And today's chapter is Don't Embarrass. Parents, don't embarrass your kids. Work very hard at that. And I know kids say, well, my parents embarrassing me for just being themselves. Well, that might be a little different. But what we're really talking about here is don't do things like make a scene in public that embarrasses your kids or put them in a situation that would embarrass them. It's for your own gratification. It's crazy. And of course, alcohol can be a part of that. If acting drunk in public or something like that, it's never good. It hurts the kids. It's not a good situation. The kids are confused by it. They don't know what's going on and they're embarrassed. They don't feel good about it. They know there's something wrong. If they're very young kids, they can even sense there's something wrong. And putting kids in embarrassing situations, usually for your own gratification, is not good. I remember being at a golf tournament one time, and a famous golfer was teeing off, and I was standing next to this guy, and he may have even been his grandson, because the man was a little bit older, and the boy was maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 years old, 8 or 7, I would guess. Anyway, he says, go up there and lead. This golfer was on the first tee, and go up there and get his autograph. So the little boy went up there and was quiet because the golfer was about ready to tee off. And he said, can I have your autograph? And the golfer rightly says, no, I'm playing golf right now. I can't do that right now. So that the little boy probably felt just so small, and he was embarrassed by the whole crowd there. But you can't blame the golfer. I mean, why would a father or grandfather put a child in that situation? It's crazy. And all he wanted to do was get the autograph for him anyway, for the grandfather or father. So don't do things like that. Don't put kids in embarrassing situations for your own gratification. I've actually seen, speaking of autographs, I've seen people at baseball games when the team's going in have little kids there, and then I've seen them give those autographs to older people. So they're just out there getting them for the adults anyway. So now this isn't the same, though, as not encouraging your child to take a bit of a risk now and then. I mean, you got to take some risk, and not dangerous or stupid risk, but you've got to step out every once in a while and take a risk. And this is not what I'm talking about. Children should take risks to learn who they are, to get out of their comfort zone. Now, getting out of your comfort zone doesn't mean you're going against your natural way you were designed. Don't go against your grain, but out of your comfort zone, try things, experiment. If you fail, well, there's no such thing as failure in my mind. It's just learning. How many times did Thomas Edison try to invent the light bulb? How many thousands of times before he got it right? So there's no such thing really as failure. Just keep trying, and to get out of the comfort zone, you can do things. It's no big deal. Just do it. Just take some action. And if it's against your grain, you'll know it. But that's not what I'm talking about when I'm telling you not to embarrass your kids. Kids, if you want your child to go out of their comfort zone for your benefit, then that's not a good thing. If you're encouraging them to take a chance, to see what they can do, to see that they can do more than they think they can do, that's great. But like I say, if you're just pushing them so for your benefit, that's not good. And also, some kids get more easily embarrassed than others. You'll have some that are introverts and some that are extroverts. Some you would send to do something and they wouldn't think twice about it. Others it would be very traumatic for. Parents need to be sensitive to this. There are lasting scars from things, even just one or two events that can really have a lasting negative effect on a child. And so be careful about that. Just because your child's an invert, there's nothing wrong with them. They just may be a little more sensitive and they need a little more understanding to who they are. And parents should make a great effort to understand their kids and not put them in embarrassing situations that would scar them or make them afraid to take a risk now and then. Take a risk to fail. It's no big deal. Like I said, there's no such thing as failure. But there's a fine line there between taking that risk and putting them in situations that would embarrass them and would hurt them and harm them. And I don't have all the answers. I don't know where the exact fine line is on that. So it's a tough deal. You don't want them to stay there and not take a risk, but you don't want to send them out and embarrass them. And you definitely don't want to embarrass them yourselves by actions you take. And it'll stay with you, and it puts a wedge in between the kids and the parents too. If the parents embarrass them in public and things like that, it's not good, and it's not good to put them in an embarrassing situation. And also, if don't tell your kids, well, here, I want to take you to this, I want to introduce you to these people. Don't make your kids uncomfortable like that either. That's not a good situation. Think what you're doing. Be aware. I mean, my gosh, it's not that difficult. Just be for your kids. It's not for you. It's not for your benefit to push kids. It's for their benefit when you do it. And be careful when you do it. Do it the right way. Keep them in their design. Yes, they'll fail. Failing is not a problem. But don't embarrass them. And thanks for being with us this time. And we will talk to you next time.